Good morning, everybody. I'm Jared Klein coming to you live from the NBC29 Digital Desk with a look at our morning rush on this Friday. TGIF, let's get things started with the top stories over on NBC29.com. Coming in at number 1, Charlottesville Airport making adjustments for Avella. We'll get to that story in just a moment. At number 2, Scottsville man charged in connection with a shooting in Albemarle. Then at number 3, Albemarle providing 2023 summer swim season update. You can find that story right now over on NBC29.com. Charlottesville Albemarle Airport is dealing with a surge of passengers thanks to increased air travel and a new airline. Avella Airlines started service last month with flights to Orlando. The aircraft it uses is a bit larger than the usual commuter jets serving passengers from places like Dulles and Charlotte.
Did a lot to make the space available for that size. We brought in new seating, so we have some seating in the gate area and then of course in the concourse, and then we had to make a new space for the airline where ticketing was concerned and then just make the gate adjustments.
Avella Airlines brings in 100 to 189 passengers on Mondays and Fridays on Boeing 737s. Charlottesville's Friendship Court community has a new name. The Piedmont Housing Alliance says people living there have voted to call it Kindlewood. The existing 150-unit community is undergoing a 4-phase redevelopment process that will ultimately provide homes for more than 400 families. A resident-led advisory committee came up with the idea for a new name to represent the expanded community. Well, it ain't about your pride, it's about staying alive. That's according to an award-winning author named Alex Zan, who launched a new initiative yesterday in Charlottesville. Staying Alive is a pledge of nonviolence to oneself and others. It was started in hopes of creating a safer future for area youth by teaching them to think before they make a decision that could change their life forever. Pledge posters will be featured on the walls of local businesses throughout the city of Charlottesville, so keep an eye out for them, starting with Mel's Barber Shop. And finally, in our local beat this morning, the Charlottesville Regional starts today. The 4 participating teams were at Disharoon Park practicing yesterday. As you can see, UVA grad student pitcher Brian Edgington will be Virginia's starter today in its noon game against Army. This is the 17th time that Virginia has been in the NCAA tournament in Coach Brian O'Connor's 20 seasons. The guys say they're prepared and feeling loose. If you do plan on attending that game today, though, make sure you wear sunscreen and prepare for it to be hot.
And exactly. And speaking of hot, a lot of people will be heading to the beach this summer as temperatures warm up and kids go on summer break. So we want to talk about rip currents. They are preventable, but yet people keep drowning. There have been 29 deaths in the United States so far this year.
Wow. And
we haven't even hit the peak beach going season yet.
Yeah.
So experts say that if you're caught in a rip current, to not swim directly back to the shore, but instead swim parallel with the shoreline. I was always taught to kind of get on your back and just kind of swim parallel until you can get out of it. And according to experts, rip currents are only about 50 to 100 feet wide. So you can get out of it, but if you try to go through it, you know, you just get exhausted and then people drown. So
exactly.
So important information there if you're heading to the beach. Okay, so USA Today asked people what words they constantly spell incorrectly.
We all have a few.
We all have a few. So restaurant and definitely were one of the 2 top responses.
Okay.
I will say I definitely get definitely wrong.
Oh, all the time. Definitely is definitely a hard one for me.
Yeah.
Restaurant, I had to work on that one because that's a difficult one.
I agree. Business was another one.
Business,
license. Unfortunately, receipt.
Tomorrow.
I can see how maybe people got maybe 2 M's or 2 R's. This was interesting. This is supposed to be charcuterie, but they spelled it charcuterie.
Charcuterie board.
So.
Okay. Salmon.
Salmon. A lot of people forget the L.
What? Yeah, it's not how you
silent
say
L.
it. Molasses.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even thought about. Now, Christmas, that's an interesting one.
Kids usually misspell. They usually forget the T.
Okay. Yeah,
I've seen that with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pamphlet.
Yeah. You know, one for me is entrepreneur.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
a very
hard
difficult
one.
one. Usually I'll just type out something that looks similar to it and let spell check handle the rest.
Yeah.
Because I know, I mean, if spell check can't even recognize what I just typed out, I'll have to look it up online.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. It's funny, like words like broccoli, and I'm like, is there 2 C's or one? Things like that. And asparagus, I have to think about.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're making your grocery list there.
Yeah, right. I'm like, and then
But
I know
mean,
what it, yeah.
you know what it means.
Yeah,
So.
but I have to like double check those.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then finally, this is just so sweet. So this curious orangutan at the Louisville Zoo. There's a mom with her baby visiting, and look how the orangutan motions the mom to come over, so she can get a closer look at the baby. But it's just kind of like, wow, you know, animals, they get it. It's like, oh, they know that that's a baby.
Yeah, they understand.
Yeah, and looks like very
interested.
Yeah, very interested in the baby. So kind of something that's sweet to look at on a Friday.
Yeah, that's a great thing to look. All right, thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Jennifer. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast brought to you by Michael and Son Cooling. Today, a hot one, a high of 90 degrees for our Fridays after 5. We've got Mojo Pie and the Gladstones hitting the stage starting at 5:30. Make sure you don't miss that. That's at Ting Pavilion, of course. NBC29 is a proud sponsor of Fridays after 5. Tomorrow is a high of 88 with some showers and storms moving in later on in the day, and then things are cooling off for our Sunday with a high of 75. I hope you guys have a great Friday out there, a great weekend ahead. We'll see you again on NBC29 News at noon, and of course we're always live. You can catch us on NBC29.com.